inspired by those kind of scripted moments in games. I didn't do as many in the game as I kind of expected to at the start, but there's a few reasons for that. But I guess the main one was that once the players kind of, gets the mechanics in a good enough way, I didn't want to completely kind of overwhelm them with. So this is a subtle one, but it's kind of important. And I know I'm talking a lot about game design introduction. This is by the way, this isn't like innovative in any way. This is Mario. This is every game you ever played. But I think it's kind of interesting to go through the steps. So here is kind of, we're extrapolating on precision. It's essentially we've done it in the previous level. We've made you do it. And here we're kind of queuing up a few of those. So if you fail at one, you can actually force yourself to go back a couple of steps in the progress. This is kind of the first time we're challenging the player, which is important, but it's important as well that it's not overwhelming. It's still very early days. I haven't yet shown you the kind of the differentiating mechanic of Thomas. So it's again, I didn't add respawning to the game until about a month before release. It's a classic example of something that every playtest I ever did. So basically, if you died in the game previous to a month before it came out, you were basically reset the level. So it didn't matter how much progress you'd made, you'd reset the level to the very start of the level. Your character lighting. It's a weird one. The lighting. I didn't have lighting at one stage. There wasn't light. Then it was sounding a bit biblical. But as it went on, I kind of added that in. Initially, I was doing them by hand for every level, and basically this procedural system kind of came out of laziness. I didn't want to do that anymore. And weirdly, as a side effect of that, it was cool, and the shadows moved and could be kind of related to placement of objects, placement of characters. And it was good. It's actually faked because the game was made in free Unity. I didn't have any shadows within the game kind of proper. So what I did was they're kind of stretched rectangles. So I place a corner of the rectangle at each corner which the shadow's projecting from, and then kind of stretch them off into the distance. Okay, so this is the moving platform corridor. This was an attempt to bring in something that's going to become very important in a very short amount of time, the moving platforms. It's really hard to introduce moving platforms because moving platforms move, and that makes them challenging and makes them kind of a complex interaction. So what the corridor here allows me to do is introduce you to the idea that sometimes the ground moves, but in a way that doesn't actually kind of impact you too much and won't cause you, hopefully, to get too stressed out. People seem to like it. It's kind of a bouncy castle level. People tend to have fun as they move through it, which is quite cool. And yeah, this is the most important level in the game. This is the point where I basically get to the point. And arguably, I should have done it a little bit sooner. However, this is where it is, and that's fine. So this is the point where the player has to learn how to switch characters, which is kind of the basis of the entire thing, is this switching between the characters. This is also actually one of the first levels. This is almost identical to the version that was in the original Flash game. You have two characters. This was a weird little accident, this level, actually. There's on Thomas on the right there. As you move up, you're moving through trigger boxes. If you don't make games, trigger boxes are basically spaces you jump into or move into, and they cause something in the game to happen. So as you move up as Thomas, you're hitting these trigger boxes which cause the walls to come in. But as a really weird coincidence, I got one of the timings wrong, so that as you moved up, there's a certain point where it looks like you can jump somewhere. You jump to it and the wall flies out and hits you in the face. It's kind of a funny moment. And I did it, and I thought it was funny, and it felt kind of organic. And I took it to when I started showing the game to people, it happened to everyone. It's a weird thing that it seems to catch everyone out, even though there's nothing forcing you into it. 90% of the time people get hit in the face, and most of the time they laugh. So I left it in, and I'm really happy with it. Actually, it's one of those nice little coincidences that worked out really well. Steps. Everyone loved the steps. They didn't, actually, and it's probably my biggest design regret in the game is